Create that life legacy, designers. Amber Prosia here. Welcome to episode number 6 of the Parenting Biz Podcast, coming to you every single Monday. Now let's chat with this week's featured guest, Jenny Lacy. Jenny, are you ready to enlighten us on your journey of how you design the life you've always wanted for yourself and your children?
Sure am. Can't wait.
Amazing. Jenny Lacy, the visibility coach, teaches clients to share who they are, what they stand for, and how our audience can work with us through video marketing. She has over 25 years of experience working with audiences from 2 to 200 through confidence-boosting techniques, taming the technology, and how to increase our visibility in a way that suits us, our business, and our potential audience online. Perhaps we're like her and we've moved from contractor to business owner or corporate beast to freelancer and experienced utter terror to crazed euphoria about our choice of work. She's a radiant piece of light and we're so grateful to have her on our show today. Jenny, please take a minute and fill in any gaps from that intro and give us a little glimpse of your own personal life.
Oh, wow. No, it's a lovely intro. Thank you. I suppose the only thing that I like highlighting is as a solo parent with 3 boys who are teenagers now, that transition is always in the context of having to, I guess, manage everybody else's feelings about change and being able to communicate what you're doing in your career with your kids in a way that's suitable for them at whatever age they're at, because some of them have more questions than others. And I've found over the years that that's been an interesting part of the journey is how you communicate that change to your kids.
Absolutely, and I love that. We'll definitely dive into that shortly. Thanks so much, Jenny. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today. We're really looking forward to it. As you are aware, our listeners are parents or parents-to-be that realize ownership is key to not only to our parenting or business, but in life in general. And along that parenting journey, we can lose sight of that. However, if we focus on life as a game or an activity or a sport, not only can we learn to let go easier, but we can also gain strength from our mistakes and design our core focus be one of laughter, joy, and most importantly, having fun. Just like a 5-year-old kid in the sandbox. So this week, our entire interview will be drafted around the first NetBall game of the season. So grab your kit, put on your bibs, and let's step into the center circle for the game of video marking to begin. So now we're all aware that this is just an analogy and we can create and design our lives any way we want. Jenny, this is your chosen sport. So as the officials step onto the court and the whistle goes off, let's get right into the game and dive into first quarter, which is called importance of positioning. Okay, so this one, as you know, players are assigned positions before the game begins, and those positions are restricted for the players to only move in certain areas of the court. Do you start with a planning strategy before you begin filming?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it is a key ingredient for success, definitely. You can't, if you don't know what you're going to say or who you're going to speak to, how will you know how to measure the best use of your time and the quality of what you create? I think it's absolutely paramount.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you do work one-on-one and you do one-to-many through workshops, creating that plan for clients, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about getting into the hearts and minds of their intended audience. So who are you trying to connect with? Who are you helping? What is it that you want to communicate to them and for them? So it's very much audience-focused and outcomes-focused rather than, I guess, ego-focused and self-focused. I find that's a huge part of creating really engaging content.
Yeah, so how do you actually design the client's planning strategy? Like I know you touched on the audience, so target market or niche, whatever word you want to use, your avatar, dream client, they're all the same thing. But how do you actually do the planning strategy for focusing on videos for them to succeed?
So what we do is we take a holistic look at 2 different things. There's 3 purposeful questions I ask where they have to focus on their clients and where are they and what do they really need from you and perhaps what do you want to communicate to them, but also what are the overall marketing plans in your business and where can video marketing complement what you're already doing. It shouldn't stand alone. It should be very much be based on your core messages and what it is that you've probably already created. A lot of people have a huge library of content that they've created over, years, or even just recently, when we get into that frenzy of creating social media content, whether it's blogs or whatever. So there's a bigger version, a bigger picture I have in mind about where video fits into that picture for the client. So the strategy is around, where do I want to be? What's the outcome I desire from adding video marketing to my business marketing? But it's very much based on who's it for, what are you trying to achieve for them, what do they need, but what do you already have that we can leverage, rather than starting from scratch all the time.
Absolutely. And you mentioned already that you actually focus on areas of the client's business. What are some common areas that you've worked with so far that other business owners do focus on? Because, as a business owner, you kind of think, oh, I have to do it all. When no, you have to go in bite-sized chunks. But what are those specific areas that you see commonly that's where video marketing really makes a huge difference in?
It's a good question, because the very first question I ask is, where are my clients? So I say to people, where is that traffic coming from? Where are your clients? And even if you're at the very beginning and you have done, I guess, some soul searching about who are you trying to help and what is it that you're going to help them with, it'll give you a good indication of where are they. So are they coming through your website? Are they people that you contact through email only? So a lot of bricks and mortar businesses don't use social media. And I know that seems a bit weird for those of us who are on social media all the time, but that's one area that we can focus on, or website. For those of us who do get a lot of our client contact on social media, then we look at, where does video marketing fit into that picture, and how can it complement, raise your profile, or have you, out there as the expert in your field and raise your authority. So I'm interested in the fact that it's not all about social media, but a lot of clients are very social media focused, and I encourage them also to look at the prime piece of real estate that they have in their website, and where is video supporting their messages on that platform. Given that 2/3 of us are visual in the way we like to collect information and make decisions and learn. So what are we providing on our websites, which is such it's probably one of the biggest business expenses most of us have at the very beginning. How can we look at that area of our business and make sure that video is really supporting us to, I guess, provide value and really think about our clients and how they might want to consume the content on our websites. So it's not all about social media, but a lot of clients really do want to either grow on social media or focus on it. But I do encourage a little wider a view of where videos can really make a difference.
Absolutely. And do you find that having a staggered approach in your entire planning strategy to then implement video marketing into, say, social media or into your website or what other media platforms they might be, so PR and radio and TV, however else you want to get there, but do you actually do things in a staggered approach, or so you actually plan it out in, say, 12 months or 3-month phase, or do you only focus on 1 month at a time?
That is a good question. It really depends on the business. I really feel that there's no one size fits all. Some businesses really suit a themed approach where this month it's all about wardrobe planning. Let's say we're talking about a professional organizer or somebody, and they really want to focus on spring cleaning because it's spring and they're heading into spring. And so all their content may in fact be different areas of the house, but it's all related to that theme, and that makes perfect sense to me. Whereas a lot of us have categories of information in our business that we might want to share with our intended, clients online. And that's when I say, okay, let's pick your most favorite blog, the one that you just absolutely loved writing. You did the research, you've done all the work to write that beautiful piece of content. How do you maximize the reach of that blog? Well, you add a video to your website on that blog. You might create a little video just about the blog and just release that. You might get tweets from it. You might put shorter snippets of video about that blog on Instagram or Twitter, apart from putting it on YouTube, of course, as well. So I try and encourage clients to get as much juice out of every piece of, particularly if you're writing blogs, how can we use that blog as the platform to use video marketing throughout the rest of our marketing for that particular week, or it could be for a whole month. So again, it goes back to what the business is about and what your branding is about and what your personality is like. Do you want to stagger it and have all sorts of different things from across your current business marketing platforms? So you might have one theme on Twitter, one theme on Instagram, or do you actually really want to just focus on that one topic that was really burning you up and you've written this amazing piece about it? I think that always works for lots of people because of the time and energy we spend creating that stuff. But if I create, say, a 3-month content plan, then regardless of what piece of content is where, you could pick and choose and spread it around. I think it really totally depends on testing and measuring and what sort of business you're in as well.
Absolutely. And just before we even move into the second quarter, just going into video in general, over your 25 years experience, how crucial do you find, especially grabbing people's attention and getting more audience and clients and customers for businesses, that video actually plays a role in? Because some people may not be comfortable behind the video, or, you know, they'd actually prefer to write a blog article like you mentioned, or they're happy with writing stuff. How have you found in your own experience that video has increased sales based on putting yourself out there?
Sorry.
That's okay. Go on.
Sorry to interrupt. I thought you'd finished then.
I did, yeah.
Well, it's a really good question, because I know that we are often we believe wholeheartedly the stuff that we're writing and that the content that we're putting out there to add value and create those leads through our opt-ins or whatever. But what I think, the reason I'm so obsessed with us sharing our message on face-to-camera video in particular, in any way that you can do that in a way that makes you feel comfortable, and let's face it, the more you do it, the better you get at it. I don't know anyone that got worse, by the way. And the reason that it works is that if I just, let's say I'm looking for somebody to help me in my business or in my house with my kids or something, and I do a Google search, or I look on YouTube for an answer. No, I don't look on YouTube. Let's assume I'm searching on Google, and I have 5 options or 3 options. I look at the top 3 results on the first page of Google, and every single one of them looks exactly the same on paper. They might have slightly different branding on their website, but their words on the website are kind of similar because they're in a similar kind of business. And suddenly, the third one has a video on the first page that welcomes me and makes me realise I'm in the right place, encourages me and reassures me that I'm making a really great decision and well done for looking for an answer for this problem. And then I sort of fish around a little longer. So I stay on that website for longer, right? And I start realising that they've got some free content, so I might fish around for longer on that website and try and find some resources that are free. And I think that adding a video where that person, that provider, whether it's a service or a product, is sharing their personality, sharing their body language. I'm hearing their voice. I'm looking at them in their element. They might be sitting in their office or surrounded by the products that I'm trying to buy or whatever. Adds so much more than just reading words on the other 2 websites. So it makes it a faster decision. Like 2/3 more people will make that buying decision when they've watched an explainer video or a demonstration video versus people who just read words on a page. So I really encourage us to think about how can we, one, keep people on our website for longer, but also how can we help them make that buying decision quicker and not shop around as much using video. That's just one example of how I've seen it work.
Yeah, and that was beautiful because you've hit a couple big keys there. Is that also it's just giving you that connection. You're seeing it's a real human. You see that their office space, like you said, the products. We actually, as human beings, we love that. We love feeling that connection. And I think you also hit it really well as well, is that our attention span is only 7 seconds. We're less than a goldfish right now. You know, back in the day, it was 20 minutes. So people would read the long written articles or notes about that on the website. Not now. They'll be skimming things. And if there's a video, if it could get everything in 2 minutes or 5 minutes rather than reading for 10, people are going to go that way as well. So huge difference for our different eras.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So that's fantastic. Let's go into our second quarter, which is called the art of focus. Because once a player catches the ball, the first foot touching the ground is called the landing foot. And at that point, they are unable to move this foot, or that will result into a penalty called footwork. Now, however, they can pivot with the other foot. So this goes into video marketing. What advice would you give someone who is just starting out of which platforms shall they focus on and why only focus on one platform or a limited amount of platforms rather than hitting all at once?
If you create, let's say, a 30 to 60-second snippet of video that says, hey, thank you so much for dropping into my Facebook page. I'm Jenny Lacy, blah, blah, blah. This is what I do. I successfully implement video marketing in your business to grow your people, your profile, and your profit. Loads of free resources here. Can't wait to see you online, and reach out with a message if you need any help right now. That's it. Really short, really sweet, straight on my Facebook page. Now, the reason that I might say start with Facebook is that that's where you have identified in your strategy with me that you believe your clients are lurking the most, compared to someone who says, actually, all my clients and all my networks are on my email database and LinkedIn. Completely different, not completely different, but certainly slightly different video that I would encourage you to put on your LinkedIn profile and say if your clients are there and that's what they want from you, it's not a social platform, it requires a slightly different discipline around what you say and how you write your articles on LinkedIn, then I would say focus on LinkedIn. So it all comes back to that strategy around which are the key platforms that you want to focus on based on where you believe your clients are going to find you and need you the most, and focus your content on that. So if you are an Instagram legend, let's say Instagram is totally your thing, your product or even your service is very visual, people love it, you're a graphic designer, you might be a candle lady, you might be whatever, if you've got beautiful products, or an artist. So that means the video content is different again. You're going to be in Insta stories. You're going to be creating video that's well and truly under 60 seconds that sits on Instagram really easily. So that's the way I suggest we decide which platform to focus on. And the reason it's worth focusing is that because they're all slightly different, if you try and do one size fits all for all platforms, you're kind of going to waste time and energy, which none of us have to spare, I don't think.
Absolutely. And I love that you went back to your foundational question. So if you're not sure of what your audience is or where they hang out, well, you got to sort that first. There's no point on moving forward and, creating all these videos because the language is different. Like you said, it's not one shoe fits all.
Absolutely.
I love that. So let's just say for the next question that we've already decided we know that our audience sits on Facebook. Let's just say. So we know social media is the key. How many videos do you recommend clients to post up and how often?
This is also a little bit of how long is a piece of string, because Facebook having changed recently and our business pages just aren't getting the traction they were getting even, a month or 2 months ago. I've seen a huge drop in reach from my business page. And what Facebook is saying is, I don't want to just deliver stuff from a branded page. I want to deliver some stuff that's going to engage people and encourage conversation and encourage interaction between real people. So that might be more likely to be in a group, but it could be on your personal profile as well. I think what happens in Facebook, as you know, let's say we're talking about a pre-recorded video. Facebook Live is slightly different, and I'm happy to answer that based on Facebook Live as well. But if we've got a pre-recorded video, and let's say it's 45 seconds long, which is about perfect, believe it or not, that seems to be the benchmark for people engage and are more likely to watch the whole thing if they know it's under a minute. So let's say we create 5 of our very top tips, all on separate little videos, and they're all sort of 45 seconds long. I would probably only deliver one a week, because you want that to get further reach on Facebook. You don't want to kind of cannibalize it a little bit by adding more and more. But what I do always recommend is that you have complementary stuff that still talks about what's in that video. So you might have a meme with some words on it that are from your video, or your video title leading back to YouTube once in a while, or you might deliver the video direct to Facebook. But and deliver it in groups on top tip days or motivation days or wherever you're allowed to add video content in the groups that you're in on Facebook. Try and get as much juice out of that piece of content in about a week. I think And if you can only really do one a month, then just do that and release it as often as you can. Put it in a transcript so people can read it instead of watching, if that helps people. But you're getting as many eyeballs and as much juice out of that piece of content as possible. So in the old days, a month ago, before Facebook changed that algorithm, it was all about posting, multiple times a day on your Facebook page, on your business page, and that has changed dramatically. Now it's very much about the groups we're in and how we can engage people with us in conversation within those groups, and people then seeing us and getting to know us and then going to find out more about us, whether it's to our website or to our Facebook page after that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
No, it really does. And it actually goes into the next question, which was about pivoting. And you already dropped all those answers of how you can pivot that one video. You still have lots of options. But I do love how you said also the old days where literally it was just a month ago, but it's true. Facebook is constantly changing. So you have to also put that into consideration as well. Whichever platform you're using, they're changing rapidly too. So you need to adapt and, as you said, test and trial and see what comes up and repurpose and keep being creative, because you won't know unless you actually put different things out there. And the other nugget that you shared, which I really want to iterate on, is how you had engaging conversations on, say, Facebook. Because a lot of people think that, oh, well, if I have this amount of likes, this is going to increase my reach. It's not. It's actually the engagement. So if someone has a different reaction, so love, wow, sad, angry, those are different reactions that they can have. If they share your video and or if they comment on it, those are the big things of engagement. And that's where Facebook will reward you from. Rather than just liking. Because nowadays, if you think about it, we're all just in that little swipe mode where like, oh yeah, I see a post, barely read it, barely watch the video. Yep, I like it. Keep going.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and Facebook knows that. So they're not going to reward you with X amount of likes.
That's right. And that leads beautifully into Facebook Live and the difference between posting a pre-recorded video, which you have a lot of control over. And I encourage people, if they're nervous about Facebook Live, to start pre-recorded stuff to be a little more, to build your confidence around your message and looking at the camera and stuff. But with Facebook Live, that's a big part of the strategy is as if anyone comments, you reply to those comments. So after you've finished and you've posted the live video to your group or page or wherever you're posting it, that you go back in and you reply to all those comments and you start conversations within that post. But also in your description, you encourage people to ask questions or comment or share, so that we're encouraging that engagement in every piece of Facebook Live content that we post, and that's being rewarded way more than just going live on your business page and hardly anybody seeing it because of the algorithm change. Go live in a group if you can. I really encourage you to introduce yourselves on Facebook Live in people's groups if you're allowed to, because it's so much more powerful than just typing some words.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Facebook Live as well, a lot of people I've noticed when they will reply back to a comment that someone might say, but it'll just be a one word or thanks so much, rather than, like you said, starting a conversation. Hey, thanks so much. What business, like, what are you in? Or what do you do? Or, totally. Starting and asking for that reply of question, because that person took the time out to make that comment for you. Again, that's a huge reward right then and there, because remember, our attention span is only 7 seconds. So the fact that they've actually taken the time out to write something to you, have the decency to write something back, but also don't let that lead go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? Have that conversation, build that connection.
It's all about like having a conversation. If you and I met at a networking event and you spent some time to sort of ask me about my business or share some value with me, of course I would stick around and find out more about you. And so I say to people, Facebook isn't that different to meeting people at networking. You've got to think about, how would I behave if I run up with my product and sort of shove it at them and say, buy my thing, when they didn't even know me? Of course we wouldn't. So the flavour of Facebook Live is very much about sharing value without being salesy, and really letting us get to know you and your personality. It's a much more engaging and authentic way to use video.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's building that connection, right? They're humans on the
Mm,
other side. We have to treat them that way. And this is going to go into our third quarter, which is about making sales. So, business is all about sales, it's our bloodline to any business. And just like netball, we have to score points if we're wanting to win the game. So, the big question is, how do we convert a video into a sale? Which I'm sure many clients ask you that, Jenny.
mm. And so I'll give you a couple of examples. Um, a client, a financial services client, I worked with, and we did 5 videos together, and he interviewed his clients on video, and they were all completely different clients, and, all from totally different businesses, but they had in common the cloud accounting service that they use. And so he was asking them how was the implementation process, how do you find it now, and they were talking about how much money they've saved, how much time they have with their family now. Amazing, I was able to do the payroll for my holiday in France, blah blah blah. And he then sent them out in emails to their email database, which was several thousand on their database. And his return on investment, if you like, was that the calls that came through in the week following, or the 2 days following each of those emails, was really successful. So they had loads more traffic coming in to their inbound phone number, here in Melbourne, and were able to either re-energize clients who they hadn't seen for the last financial year or whatever, but also bring on board new clients. So that's one way to think about, how can I do this? Well, I'm going to encourage them with every call to action. Please get in touch with us today. We would love to help you with your cloud accounting services. So his call to action at the end of every video was based on what the client had said. So one of them was like, well, if you'd like to do the payroll from France in 20 minutes, get in touch with us today. We'd love to help you implement Xero accounting software or whatever it was. And so at the end of each video, the call to action was very much, call us. We really want to help you. And that's one of the best ways, I think, to convert people from just, a video content to, I really want to help you. So I always encourage people to have a call to action that is really authentic, like to you. What's your call to action? I really want you to come to give me a call, and I'm offering this thing today. Do a call to action towards the end of each piece of video content, whether it's Facebook Live or pre-recorded. And the other way is to always have links in the description of your Facebook Live, or even your post if you're posting a pre-recorded video, to help people know where to go next. So if we're trying to make sales because we want more leads, you're not going to sell directly from a video, I don't believe. You can use them for ads, but even ads are for leads usually, to get the traffic to a landing page or to get them to ring you. They're not going to buy directly from an ad usually. I do sell workshop seats directly from video ads, but I think that's sometimes because the audience is already warm, so they already know me, because that's how I set my ads up. But I think we've got to have that sort of, what is our call to action, keep it really simple, and let people know, whether that's through a link or through the words you say in your content about what you want them to do next.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And it was brilliant too that you used a client that he was actually letting other people speak and sell for him. Because obviously we don't want to watch a video being like, I'm amazing, buy whatever I have, right? It's more or less, if it's hearing from someone else who's using the product or service that's getting it, and they're just like the audience that's watching it, they're more likely to be like, well, if that person got to do their accounting software in France, I want to do that too. And I love how you brought in the call to action, because a lot of people forget about that. Right, where they've done all this work, and then they don't even say, well, here, you can go check out my website here, or give me a call on this number. And I love that you actually mentioned about different changing of the call to action, because if we use the same call to action, click the link below, it gets repetitive. And again, remember, the attention span is 7 seconds, so people will just bypass that. They'll actually just not even hear that part of the call to action. But if it's unique, then they'll actually more likely to do it. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. So I love that. Is there any other tips about converting a video to a sale, Jenny, or are we good to move on to the fourth quarter?
I think the aim of our video content, particularly for landing, even if it's a landing page where people have already kind of decided that they're interested and they might sign up for whatever the thing is on that landing page, I really encourage people to be very conversational, like you would be if you were talking to me in person, because you really are going to convert more people than sounding like you're really scripted and you're really overthinking it, because you can tell that people are in their own heads when they do that. Whereas if you are talking to the camera and you genuinely want me to succeed in my business, it comes across. And so that's why the call to action is always heartfelt. Like, don't be a robot, because we're not robots, we're real people. And it's really important, I think, to, if you have to, rehearse and practice as much as you can, but to be really heartfelt in the way that you do your video content really makes a difference to your conversion.
Massive. And I love that you brought that up, because even if, like, we all can tend to really get in our head, right? We all think about the conversions or whatever else is going to happen after. But it is just taking that moment. And even if it's a couple minutes before you actually record the video, or like you said, do a couple practice runs, but it's literally focusing on your heart center. Why are you doing this? Why did we get into business? Who we actually authentically, genuinely want to help? What's our integrity? What's our values? Going back to that basic, that foundation, and then communicating from there. A huge, huge difference. And you're right. The audience feels it. We know straight away if they're just reading a script, or, they're just wanting a sale at the end rather than genuinely helping us. Absolutely love that. So 4th quarter, it's called Defend Your Empire. Just like in NetBall, the opponent team will try to take the ball off of you, intercepting passes, blocking shots, and retrieving loose balls. This happens in the real world too. What are some warning signs you could share with our audience to prepare them for the game?
And in what context? What do you mean?
Well, with video marketing, right? Sometimes we can create a video, we think it's awesome, however, it falls on our face, right? No one's engaging, there's no comments, we do a live, it's our first live, there's no one else watching us, there's no comments, and we're just talking to ourselves. And we could feel like the ball's been taken from us, or, someone's blocking a shot. How do you actually recommend for your clients to get over that hump and to realize, to still give it your all on the video anyways, even if no one's there on the Facebook Live?
That's so true.
Yeah.
And you just don't know. Like, I've had people say to me, because you're never going to get 0 views. You may not see the eyeballs watching when you're live, but later on, when you go back, there are always views. So someone has definitely seen the first few seconds and probably longer of your content. So you just don't know. Sometimes people don't react and don't comment, but they're watching. And I've had people in real life say, I love what you're doing on Facebook Live. I had a friend of mine say, my 15-year-old says, is that Jenny de Lacy? And watches sometimes with her. That's weird. Like, why would a 15-year-old want to watch one of my Facebook Lives? But he's really intrigued by it. Well, she has never commented on any of my Facebook Lives. And I said to her, I didn't even know you were watching. And she said, oh, yeah, we regularly, if you're live at like 5 o'clock when I'm sort of getting tea ready, you're on our screens, baby, And I thought, isn't that interesting? And another client who said to me, I've referred you to the it's the Veterinary Association in Victoria, because they want their members to know more about using video in their business, and their conference is coming up. I think you'd be a really good guest speaker. Now, I have never seen him watch, comment, react to anything that I've ever done. So I just really want to encourage people to understand that even if people aren't commenting or sharing, they are seeing it, and you are more visible, and you are doing the right thing. That we're not going to be like Oprah and Tony Robbins and Marie Forleo and have 50 squillion people watching our stuff the very first time, or the second, or the 10th time. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've really got to build that audience. We're building our authority with every single piece of content that we offer. And so I encourage you to not feel like, oh, wow, that's embarrassing, like I'm a friendless loser and I've got nobody's watching, because it's really not like that. The other strategy that I have around that is that you actually make sure you let people know before you go live. Message some of your cheerleaders. Say, hey, Amber, Lisa, so-and-so, I'm going to be live at 5 o'clock today. Can you just drop in? Like, as soon as you see me live, would you mind just dropping in, drop a couple of comments in for me, and then, you don't have to stay, but just to get it started, because that way, obviously, it gets more Facebook sends out more notifications the more people that are reacting and commenting to your Facebook Live. And I really believe that we can support each other in that. It's a really good strategy at the beginning to bring people with you and say, can you support me in this? Because you probably support them.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. So that's probably the two main things I'd say about that.
No, and that's fantastic. And I love that you brought that up because, you know, it happens for everyone. You don't realize that people are watching. And even just think about for yourself. Sometimes, you know, there's videos that you're watching and you don't have a reaction or you don't comment, but you've watched it.
Yeah.
Right? You just have to put yourself in the other person's shoe and not get in your own head and start thinking those negative thoughts.
That is a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you know, suggest about asking for help and asking for that support. And, you know, even if it's your partner or someone else just jumping in and saying hi, that helps, you know, just a little comment, little engagement. And that will give you that little push and motivation too. And even if you don't have it, just imagine it does. You know, just it's all again in your head about what you tell yourself. So just keep going with it. I was going to ask you about defending your empire, but this goes into a little bit more about business and family. So how do you handle the challenges integrating your business and your family life at home as a single mompreneur?
It's a really good question. My kids are a little bit older now. Things have changed as they always do. As parents, your kids grow up and they need different things at different times. All three of mine their voices have broken. It's like having three men in the house. Their voices are really deep and they're still really noisy, but it's different again. They're making different noise to what they used to.
Yeah.
But I always feel like this is their home, and I've always said that I chose to go into business for myself back in whenever it was, 2000 probably, because I wanted the flexibility to be available and to look after them and be there when they needed me for whatever they need. And that hasn't changed even though they're a little bit older. What has changed, I suppose, is that if I'm live online, I'll let them know and they can tell because usually the backdrop is behind me and they know that I'm live because I usually give them a little warning or whatever, and they tend to stay out of the kitchen compared to having little kids who you can't control like that and they'll climb over you and you've got to kind of time your video creation and so forth to when you've got a little bit of quiet time without the little ones. But overall, it's about juggling. Is that what you mean? My needs around what I see the potential of my business, but still being mindful of the guys. This is their house. It's not their fault. I work for myself, so I try and make sure that I travel as little as possible, but I still travel, and that the systems are in place for them to manage when I'm not here now because they're old enough to do that, which is kind of a little bit exciting. So it does get a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, that balance between what do I really want to achieve and how can I manage them as well, and sometimes I have to check myself.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that actually. Is checking in with yourself and checking in with the kids and just having open communication, does that help with the integration between all three? Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned early on about communicating over the years about changes in business, and my middle son, who is turning 16 soon, said to me, wow, you really adapt. What did he said, you're really good at reinventing yourself, Mum. And I thought, I don't even know what he means. And I said, what does that mean, mate? And he said, well, think about all the different things you've done, and you've been really good at all of them. I was like, wow, man, that's a really cool thing to say. And I said to him, do you feel, because he was nervous about money, he actually asked me about money, which they don't tend to raise a lot, but he said something about money. And I said, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not earning what I was earning when I was in the last corporate contract yet, but it's not far away, buddy. So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And I said that is a benchmark for a lot of entrepreneurs. Can I match my contracting income or my corporate income? And the answer is yeah, you can, but it takes time. And I'm pretty open and honest with the boys without involving them in decision making because it's really not their decision a lot of the time. It's mine. And just saying, you know what, I've really got to work hard. This is a really big week, guys. I need you to really step up. And I give them jobs to do and they kind of, they probably do it half the time. They don't do it all the time. But, yeah, that communication is really super important, but keeping it age appropriate, I think, is probably one of the things I've done well, I think, with these guys.
Amazing. That's awesome, Jenny. We'll wrap up for today, but is there any other nuggets that you'd like to share with our audience before we finalize it?
I suppose I just want to really encourage people to trust themselves, trust their expertise. And we've all got it. We've all got really unique things to offer. And that when you consider all the things you've done in your life, before kids, during kids, whatever, that all brings together a very unique commitment to the success of my business or my life that you bring to me that nobody else can bring to me. And I really encourage people to wear that like a really comfy, beautiful pashmina that is luxurious and really their favorite thing to wear, because it's really important in your video content that you own that expertise and you are the one sharing that value with me, and you really show that you care about the success of my business or life based on what you bring to me, that message that you're sharing. And that way you're out of your own head. You're very much more focused on how you can help people based on your awesome expertise and the messages and what you stand for. And it's a very empowering place to be, because it makes the content it just makes the content effortless in comparison to slogging out, social media posts and blogs because you feel you have to. It's a different mind space, and it's it makes you more conversational. It makes you more engaging. I just really encourage everybody to reflect and own that expertise that they have.
I love that, Jenny. What a great way to end the game. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for being on the show. And I'm sure our audience is wondering, how the heck can they get in touch with you? If they're a newbie and for video and they want to start, how can they work with you? And if they want to take their video marketing to the next level, how can they get in touch and learn from your expertise?
So on I do regularly run workshops online and in Australia, in Melbourne, soon to come to Brisbane and also into Tasmania in June. But the online workshop is still fantastic, and people are welcome to drop into my Facebook page, Video Works with Jenny, and see what events are coming up. But the visibilitycoach.com.au as my website has loads of free, juicy resources, and they can certainly contact me through the contact page there as well.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. I'll actually put that into the show notes so they'll be able to get that too. So Jenny, thank you so much for being on our show. You are phenomenal. I really appreciate all the little knowledge nuggets you shared with us today. I'll definitely be taking them on board and upping my video skills. So thank you so much.
You are absolutely welcome.
Thank you. And audience, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate you guys checking us out. Please know that we're on iTunes and YouTube and Podbean, Stitcher, and we'll be hopefully shortly on Spotify and SoundCloud soon too. So subscribe and follow to whatever platform works for you guys. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming online. And next Monday, we have a phenomenal speaker that I can't wait to share with you guys. So get ready for that one to release next week. So thanks so much, guys, and have a wonderful week.
Bye.
Bye.